Hello, Margaret Thatcher, yes?
If I were there, Margaret, I'd throw my hat in the door before I came in.
Oh, no, there's no need to do that.
Listen, we regret very much the embarrassment that's been caused you, and I'd just like to tell you what the story is from our end out here. I was awakened at 3 o'clock in the morning, supposedly on a golfing vacation down in Georgia, and was there with the Secretary of State, and so we met in pajamas out in the living room of our suite to because of this urgent plea from the Organization of East Caribbean States. We immediately got a group going back here in Washington, in which we shortly joined on planning and so forth. It was literally a matter of hours when your word came of your concerns. By the time I got it, the 0 hour had passed and our forces were on their way. And, of course, the time difference made that it was later in the day when you learned of it, and for us over here it was only 5:30 in the morning when they finally landed, and at last we could talk plainly.
I would not speak for very long, even on the secret telephone to you, because even that can be broken.
Yes.
So I'm very much aware of sensitivity.
Well...
But the action's underway now, and we just hope that it will be successful.
Well, we are sure it is. It's going beautifully.
Well, let's hope it's soon over, Ron, and that you manage to get a democracy restored.
We want to put them kind of out ahead in helping in the restoration of a government, so there'll be no taint of big old Uncle Sam trying to impose a government on them.
Well, there's a lot of work to do yet, Ron, still, isn't there?
Oh, yes. Yeah, and
it'll be very tricky.
We think that the military part of it is going to end very shortly. But as I say, I'm sorry for any embarrassment we caused you, but please understand it was just our fear of our own weakness over here with regard to secrecy.
It's very kind of you to have run, Ron.
Well, my pleasure.
Appreciate it. How is Nancy?
Just fine.
Good. Give her my love.
I shall. All right.
Thank you very much. I must return to this debate in the House. It's a bit tricky.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
Go get him. Eat him alive.
Goodbye.
All right, bye.
He called her the best man in England. She called him the second most important man in my life. Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher, the former movie star and the grocer's daughter, the odd couple who formed one of the most important political marriages of the 20th century.
Mr. President, Henry David Thoreau once said that it takes two to speak the truth, one to speak and another to hear. Well, sometimes one of us has spoken and sometimes the other. But together, Mr. President, I would like to think that we have spoken the truth.
Thatcher's words in 1981 when she was President Reagan's first foreign guest to the White House. But the mutual admiration began long before that, when Thatcher's late husband Dennis Thatcher caught a speech by Reagan years before. In 1975, Thatcher welcomed Reagan to London after she was elected head of the Conservative Party. In 1980, when Reagan was picking his vice presidential nominee, he wrote in a letter to a supporter, quote, "I have thought about the idea of a woman for vice president, but have to tell you polls we've taken indicate that the people aren't quite ready for that. I don't understand it, because I'm a big fan of Margaret Thatcher."
She has been a staunch ally, my political soulmate, a great visionary, and a dear, dear friend.
Both were resolute anti-communists who rose to power in the heart of the Cold War. Both were beacons of the political right, whose economic policies cause division even today. What Americans called Reaganomics, fewer regulations, smaller government, lower taxes, was virtually synonymous with another word among the Brits, Thatcherism.
It was closer ideologically and warmer personally than any relationship between any other British Prime Minister and any other American president.
Jeffrey Smith, who wrote a joint biography on Thatcher and Reagan, recalls that it was Thatcher who convinced Reagan that Mikhail Gorbachev was a Soviet leader with whom they could finally do business.
She phoned Reagan and said, "I have just met this new leader of the Soviet Union. He is unlike any other leader of the Soviet Union."
Still, Thatcher ended up sitting next to Gorbachev at Reagan's funeral in 2004. By then, she was suffering serious health problems of her own, but she would not be denied the chance to eulogize her friend and counterpart on videotape.
We have lost a great president, a great American, and a great man, and I have lost a dear friend.
Thatcher's policies came to define life in Great Britain in the 1980s. She found a kindred spirit in former President Ronald Reagan, the keepers of the special relationship between Britain and the U.S. And together, they became the architects of a golden age of conservatism.